As a mother, I believe it's my children's choice if they want to join the military. It is my children's choice what they want for their future. It is not the government's place to tell my children that at the age of 18, you have no choice. You have to sign up for the Selective Service. Last time I checked, I gave birth to my children, not the government. My husband and myself raised them and taught them right from wrong, not the government. Everyone has a choice about their life, and everyone has the right to write down their own story because we live in a free country. Or at least I thought we did. According to Representative Mike Coffman, the Selective Service was never meant to be permanent. And if you're not 100% sure what the Selective Service Act is, let me give you a quick definition. The Selective Service provides manpower to the armed forces in the case of an emergency, and an alternate service program known as the draft. Think about this. The Act requires them to sign up. They have no choice. If they choose not to sign up, they will be charged with a felony, a fine up to $250,000, or 5 years in prison. Or in case the judge wants to be a butthole, they can get a combination of both. All of this information and more on penalties can be found on the Selective Service website. Even if you believe that the Selective Service is a good thing, please keep an open mind on why it should not exist. Do you know that in 2003, there was talk about starting the draft back up? And where do you think they've gotten the names? Of course, from those who signed up. When the war in Iraq seemed like it was imminent, numerous of attempts were made to have the draft implicated. John Kerry, you have got a stop-loss policy, so people cannot get out when their time ends. You have a backdoor draft now. For the record, he has 2 daughters. Do you think he would have said this if his sons was of age? No, because he has none. Therefore, it does not affect him. Let's face it, the Selective Service Act should be eliminated due to the cost to run it. It costs millions of taxpayer dollars. It's a violation of our individual rights, and it's just another way for the government to tell your kids, hey, I own you. Now that I have your attention, let's see why the Selective Service is still here. If the government shut down the Selective Service, they would have an extra $23 million a year. The Denver Post wrote an article about abolishing this program, and through their research, they found out how much it cost. Even though we no longer have the draft, we're still being charged. If the government is constantly saying there will never be another draft, then why are they funding this? And why can't they find another use for this money? Now let me give you a quick breakdown of where this $23 million goes. On the GA website, it breaks down the money as follows. $7,810,000 for operational readiness. $7,360,000 for registration, which includes all awarenesses about why our children have to sign up. $7,760,000 for administration. Now, I'm sure that there are other programs that can use this $23 million for something else. But I'm also hoping that if they eliminate this, it will help lower our taxes as well. So I have told you how much it costs to run this program. Let's see why it's a violation of our individual rights. We all have the right in the pursuit of happiness. According to the textbook of Americanism, this means a man's right to live for himself. The Selective Service Act has taken away that right for men to choose what makes them happy. This also means that men cannot be forced to devote their life to the happiness of other men for their own agenda. What does this right have to do with the Selective Service? How can a man live for himself and be happy when he knows that he was basically forced to sign up for the draft? I pray that my kids or us will never see the day that the draft is used, but there's always that option. The Selective Service does not need to exist because if it comes down to it, I'm sure that we have enough people to stand up and fight for this country. And it's because they choose to do so, not because the government told them to. Finally, by allowing the Selective Service Act to stay in place, we're allowing the government to have another hand in our child's future. If our sons did not sign up, they would be punished by not being able to apply for a Pell Grant. This grant was started for those who cannot afford to pay for college and is not funded by the government. where it gives the government the right to tell them that they cannot use that money that we as taxpayers have paid for? We live in a country that at one time believed in people's freedoms, but the Selective Service Act is infringing on those. Everyone is entitled to an education and a chance to have a future. Some will not be able to have a higher education without the Pell Grant, and they should not have to sign up for the Selective Service to have a chance of a better future. In conclusion, I have told you enough information of why the Selective Service Act should be eliminated. Selective Service Act is just an act saying that at 18, your son belongs to the government. I really never thought about the Selective Service until a couple years ago when my son turned 14. And now that government has added something else to this act, all parents should want it gone. Did you know that they are trying to make it where girls who turn 18 have to sign up too? So if you only have daughters, guess what? This act should scare you. This act should make you want to go and tell the government it's time to end it. With them wanting the women to sign up for the Selective Service, will the cost of running the program double to $46 million a year due to them having the women there? I would say yes, probably more, because they're going to have to make it to where women are able to do certain things, change in a certain location, have a separate place to live. Where does it end? With the government trying to basically enforce what they want on our lives. Shouldn't we be able to decide what is best for our children and their needs? Let's face it, the Selective Service Act should be eliminated due to the cost to run it is millions of our taxpayer dollars. It's a violation of our rights, and it's just another way for the government to control our kids' future. In conclusion, Ronald Reagan told the government that the Selective Service was an assumption that had already been done. Once I kept reading to find out who had already thought of this type of act, I was shocked that our government would keep this act going. President Reagan went on to say the Nazis thought it was a great idea too. Is this what we want for our children? Do we want the government to take away their free will to choose what they want for their future? Or are we going to let this country turn into a country where free will is gone? Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to act and let the government know that we do not want them deciding what our children's future should be. By getting rid of the Selective Service, this is just the first step in making our voices heard. Thank you.